General Motors is recalling nearly 600,000 vehicles due to engine issues. The recall includes some Cadillac Escalades, along with some GMC Sierra and Yukon models. It also covers some Chevrolet Suburbans, Tahoes, and Silverado models.
Over 721,000 trucks and SUVs are being yanked back in a global recall, and for General Motors, this might be the biggest gut punch they've ever taken in years. This isn't your typical recall about faulty taillights or loose seatbelt clips. No, this one hits at the very heart of the vehicle, the engine. GM has officially recalled a staggering 721,000 vehicles globally due to a defect that could cause complete engine failure without warning. We're talking full-size trucks and SUVs here, the backbone of GM's North American sales. The list of affected vehicles includes heavyweights like the 2021 to 2024 Cadillac Escalade and Escalade ESV, the Chevrolet Silverado 1500, Suburban, and Tahoe, and GM's best sellers like the Sierra 1500, Yukon, and Yukon XL. These aren't niche vehicles, they're the flagships, the ones you see everywhere, the ones people depend on.
Models. All the vehicles are from the 2021 to 2024 model years. All feature a 6.2-liter V8 gas engine. The issues are with the connecting rod or crankshaft engine components. Owners of affected vehicles will be notified in June.
The core issue? It's all about the guts of the engine, specifically manufacturing defects in the crankshaft and connecting rod. These are crucial parts that handle massive stress every time the engine runs. If they go bad, the entire engine could be damaged. And in this case, they're going bad. GM and regulators are warning that this could cause complete engine failure, and the worst part is, there's no warning before it happens. No check engine light, no strange noise, just sudden failure. Imagine cruising down the highway and suddenly losing all power. That's terrifying. This is why the recall has gone global. The scale of the problem is massive, and the risk to driver safety is just too high to ignore. If you're wondering whether this is all just precautionary, think again. As of now, 12 crashes and 12 injuries in the United States have been officially linked to this engine defect. And these aren't minor fender benders. These are the kinds of incidents where sudden loss of engine power in the middle of traffic can put everyone at risk: drivers, passengers, and even pedestrians.
Highway Traffic Safety Administration says defects in the engine's components are to blame. The agency says it has received at least 39 reports of incidents. The recall includes the 2021 to 20.
The problem is that the engine failures are spontaneous. There's no lead up to the breakdown. People have reported losing all propulsion while driving, in some cases while merging onto highways or cruising through intersections. You're behind the wheel of a 5,000-pound SUV, and suddenly it's a lifeless block of metal. No power, no control, and you're a sitting duck. The situation got serious enough for the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration to step in. Back in January 2025, they launched a formal investigation after receiving 39 official complaints from owners. And here's the thing, those are just the documented ones. Who knows how many others are out there? The NHTSA's investigation covered over 877,000 vehicles, even more than the recall itself. That tells you how wide the potential danger zone is. Once the investigation started rolling, more and more cases started piling up, including reports from dealerships and internal GM service records. That pressure is what ultimately forced GM's hand to go public and issue the recall. So what's actually under the hood of these failing vehicles? The culprit is the L87 6.2-liter V8 gas engine. This engine was supposed to be a crown jewel in GM's powertrain lineup. Instead, it's become a liability. The L87 engine is built across 3 major GM assembly plants: Tonawanda, New York, Spring Hill, Tennessee, and St. Catharines, Ontario. These aren't small-time operations. These are the backbone of GM's V8 production. But somewhere along the way, something went wrong.
1500, Suburban and Tahoe, as well as the GMC Sierra 1500, Yukon and Yukon XL. GMC says it will send notices to owners by June so they can get that.
According to GM's internal findings, there are tens of thousands of incidents linked to this engine. They've admitted over 28,000 field complaints, and more than 14,000 of those involved complete loss of propulsion. That's not just wear and tear, that's a systemic failure. What's worse is that GM had actually closed 3 internal investigations into this engine problem between 2022 and 2024. At the time, they claimed there wasn't enough data to support a safety recall. Now, with mounting pressure and physical evidence in the form of busted engines and stranded customers, they've been forced to reopen the case. The issue seems to lie with how the connecting rod bearings and crankshafts were manufactured or installed. Under pressure, these parts are failing, which can tear the engine apart from the inside. And because these failures don't trigger a warning system, drivers have no chance to act until it's too late. So if you drive one of these affected models, what's the plan? GM is telling owners to bring their vehicles to dealerships for an engine inspection as soon as possible. For those whose engines show signs of defect, they're offering full replacements or repairs, completely free of charge. If the engine passes inspection but is still at risk, GM will replace the oil with a thicker, high-viscosity version and install a new oil cap and oil filter to handle the added load. Now, here's where it gets a little more stressful. The official owner notification letters won't go out until June 9th, 2025. That means if you haven't already contacted your dealer or checked your VIN at the NHTSA website, you might not know your car's at risk. Right now, GM dealerships across the US are being hit with a tidal wave of inspection and repair requests, and it's turning into a logistical nightmare. Ever since news of the V8 engine recall broke, customers have been flooding service centers, desperate to know if their vehicle is safe to drive. Some dealers are reporting dozens of calls per hour, and it's only getting worse. The inspection process isn't a quick tire check. It involves popping open the engine, analyzing key internal components, and in some cases, preparing for a full engine replacement. That takes time, labor, and very specific parts. And unfortunately, that's where the second problem kicks in. There just aren't enough parts or technicians to go around. Many dealerships are already warning of potential delays, citing supply chain constraints and a shortage of certified mechanics trained to handle L87 engine repairs. Some customers are being told they'll have to wait weeks, if not longer, just to get their vehicle looked at. And that's assuming their dealership even has the tools and parts on hand. Owners are understandably frustrated. A quick scroll through social media tells a story. Posts with photos of dashboard warnings, angry videos from customers waiting in service center lobbies, and plenty of worried questions like, is it even safe to drive my car to the dealership? For now, GM is asking for patience. But as more people become aware of the recall, the pressure on service departments is only expected to grow. And unless GM dramatically boosts its repair infrastructure, this might be one of the most chaotic dealership recalls in years. The numbers are scary, not just for customers, but for GM's bottom line too. Industry analysts are already estimating that the recall could cost the company hundreds of millions of dollars in repair costs alone. That doesn't even include the legal risks, with multiple law firms now exploring potential class action lawsuits on behalf of affected vehicle owners. Financial markets responded almost instantly. While GM's stock didn't crash, it definitely took a hit in the wake of the announcement, as investors started questioning what this means for the brand's long-term value and reputation. And keep in mind, this isn't happening in a vacuum. This disaster comes just months after GM recalled over 462,000 diesel trucks due to a dangerous transmission valve issue that could cause rear-wheel lockup. This back-to-back wave of recalls is a major credibility problem. For CEO Mary Barra and the rest of GM's executive team, the engine disaster is more than just a technical problem. It's a PR crisis. The narrative has shifted from trusted American automaker to what's going to break next. And that's the last thing you want to hear when your brand is in the middle of transitioning toward an EV future while still relying heavily on combustion engine flagships like the Silverado and Escalade. Internally, sources suggest GM is on high alert. Legal teams are bracing for claims. Marketing departments are revising messages. Executives are reportedly meeting daily to strategize next steps. The pressure is real and growing day by day. If there's one part of this recall that's really got people angry, it's this. GM knew something was wrong long before they issued the recall. In fact, documents reveal that the company had launched and then closed 3 separate investigations into these engine problems since 2022. And they did so while consumer complaints kept piling up. Critics, including safety advocates, journalists, and even former GM insiders, are now accusing the company of turning a blind eye to serious red flags. They argue that GM waited too long to act and only launched this full-scale recall after the NHTSA forced their hand by opening a public investigation in January 2025. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.